Morning. Morning, Paul.
Afternoon, Richard.
Still morning in my world.
Maybe.
Oh, and I need a tissue. You're right, don't start that yet. God, we haven't even started and we can't go on. Oh, this cushion's not right, Paul.
Oh, it's all a disaster.
Oh, yes, it's all gone wrong. I just simply can't go on.
Maybe we should have a sort of like...
I'll never...
thing on the thingy, what do you call it?
I'll never grow a cabbage again. What's the thing from Gone with the Wind? I swear, as long as I live, I'll never eat another carrot again. No, it's not really.
I don't remember that.
You know, when she's in the field toiling.
Yeah.
No, French and Saunders did that, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, they were such a fantastic... I mean, they still are, because they do podcasts and stuff, but, they were so brilliant.
They're not... They don't have the flush of youth on their side.
Oh no, I realise I'm less than 2 years away from a bus pass.
You keep saying that, Paul.
Well, I realised that this week, yeah.
I wish I was 2 years away from having a bus pass. I've got almost 20 years to go.
Well,
Not
21,
really.
yeah.
Not really.
Oh dear.
Anywho, let's get on with the show in this very blustery, windy, Storm Bert morning, but we'll get on to the weather report later, coming up on Richard and Paul. No, I'm not going to... Nothing happens when I say that. Because in order for something to happen, I'd have to do more work.
Oh dear.
And I'm simply not prepared to do that.
No.
So first of all, bloody welcome to the show, which is called...
Sunday Chat!
Yes.
Oh, you got your phone.
Ding dong la la, chaka
donging.
chaka doo doo. Anywho, so first of all, I wanted to say thank you for watching. Sincerely. No, we sincerely are very grateful for your viewership, if that's the word. But I have noticed that 28.5% of you who watch are not subscribed.
Ooh.
So double check that you're double check that you are subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications as well. And also remember to follow us on our other platforms such as Instagram, Facebook, and of course our private Facebook group, Planet Vegetaria. That's a Facebook group by Richard and Paul. Richard and Paul since 2017. That's contractual.
And if you want to join Planet Vegetaria, make sure you answer the questions. Because if you don't, Facebook goes, no, they're not interested, and you can't join.
There's been a couple this week.
Yep.
Haven't there?
Yep.
Blah, blah, blah wants to join Planet Vegetaria. Great. Answer the questions.
Yeah.
And then it will let you in.
Think all you need to do is spend 30 seconds answering
They're not difficult.
3 questions.
It's not a PhD.
And you have so much enjoyment.
That's right. It's a very friendly group. I mean, people have said it's one of the friendliest spaces on Facebook. So join us. Join the cult that is Richard and Paul. And remember, if you want it all, watch Richard and Paul.
There we are.
And of course, finally, our coffee supporters page as well, where you can buy us a coffee.
Though this is actually a tea.
And I've got a tea as well this morning. A heated up tea from earlier, using the microwave.
Yes.
Lovely.
Somebody did say to me at the plot a couple of years ago, can we buy you a tea if we don't want to buy you a coffee? And the question really threw me. I said, we don't, it's sort of like a metaphor. It's sort of like a tip jar. That's what it is. So, yeah.
Glamour, sophistication.
Oh, look at that wrinkle.
No, it was a smiling wrinkle.
There was a wrinkle.
It only happens if I smile. That's why I don't smile.
Oh,
We used to suck the cheeks in and pose. You can't do it. It doesn't work when you do it.
I look like I'm gurning.
No, you still don't look right.
I've got too much fat around there.
So, we usually kick off for new viewers who maybe are wondering what the heck is going on.
That they've already turned off.
And they're probably unsubscribed already.
Yeah.
We normally kick off with Richard and Paul's weather report. So as you can see, well, you're not particularly wrapped up, but I am in my big hand-knitted scarf that I knitted myself quite some years ago now. It's doing quite well. I've only washed it once.
It is, yeah, I can smell.
Doesn't smell yet.
Yeah, yeah. It sometimes does smell. When he puts his cologne on, you know, it sort of does last all day, and I go into where it is and it's sort of like, oh, I can smell that, yeah. It smells so lovely, baby.
Don't touch me, you might ruin the finish. So yeah, it has been a very, very cold week. I mean, bitterly cold.
Cold for the UK, that is. You know, because you need to take into account that our houses in the UK are built for general UK weather. They're not built for cold weather. And I think that's going to become more and more of an issue as we go through the next few decades with you know, human impact climate change going on. So yeah, it's cold for us. It may not sound cold to other people in like Canada and, you know, deep plains of America and things like that. Cold for us.
It is, and yeah, at one point this week I think the temperature was the same indoors as it was outdoors.
Yeah. Which is very unusual.
Well, it was I noticed it was 10 degrees outside this morning and 10 degrees inside. So, you know,
but 10 degrees is warmer than there has been outside. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, when it was really cold the other day, I think it was about -1 at one point, and we managed 11 degrees in the house, which was positively balmy for us.
Yeah, yeah.
And the reason it is so cold is because we refuse to pay extortionate prices for our heating. So
we're frugal.
we're very frugal.
Well,
I mean,
we're frugal.
If we heated the house to the recommended 18 degrees,
oh, it would be thousands.
We'd be
thousands,
paying,
thousands.
Well, we'd be paying £15 a day.
Oh, we'd be paying more than that.
So we're not prepared to pay that amount.
Yeah.
It's seriously wrong that anybody has to pay energy prices of that amount. We do have a little heater on in here, so it's feeling quite comfortable at the moment, but our heating is off, and it comes on at in the morning for an hour, lunchtime for around 40 minutes, and for about an hour and a half in the evening. And we supplement the time in between with a little electric heater.
Or just rubbing our hands and other things together. And having a hug, eh, baby?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Not during the day, anyway.
No.
So yeah, it has been very, very cold, and it's milder today because we've got Storm Bert rattling around. We're missing the worst part of it, so it's not too bad where we are. It's just a bit gusty, which of course you can feel in the house. Wooden floors, air bricks, all of that. But yes, and we went for a very, very chilly walk yesterday.
We did.
We went to Coombe Hill, which is the home of the Boer War Memorial. There's been a couple of reels on Instagram, which were fun to make. And yeah, it was bloody cold.
Because the winds sort of sweep across the plain and then sweep up the hill to Coombe Hill and the Boer Memorial, and it's very chilly. Yeah.
Yeah. So
chilling wind.
But we were well wrapped up, and we were quite interested to notice how the effect of the shelter of the woodlands and the gorse and the trees made such a difference. And we were talking about it, weren't we? We were saying, you know, how the people of old would have used that for shelter.
Yeah, it would have been in the forests because that's where the least wind is. That's where the most shelter
But
is.
also where the creatures would have lived as well.
Absolutely.
And of course the predators.
The werewolves.
The werewolves.
Yeah.
The wolves and the bears and the boars would have lived.
Yeah. Different boars to the Boar Memorial. Yeah. I think they're reintroducing boars over here, aren't they? They've done that in France and they're reintroducing them over here.
Well, I hope they don't reintroduce them to anywhere where we go walking. So, yeah, that was rather fun. But yes, very cold and windy. So there we are. That's
but the
weather
light
report.
was gorgeous. It was really, oh, there's a red kite.
What?
As in the bird on the, which we saw lots of red kites yesterday, and there's some locally to us now nesting, and one just went bush.
And we had a little bit of snow during the week, which takes us on to your horrendous car journey that you had going down to Earthsake in Surrey.
So we have, whenever it snows or the weather is particularly cold and wet, of course all the petunias and tarquins need to be taken to school rather than walking to school.
The posh children.
And I think any children nowadays, and the traffic, it took me 3 hours once again to do 36 miles to get down to For Her Sake and the Great Green Barn. Ludicrous. It had snowed a bit, but there was no snow our side of London, and there was no snow really me going down to For Her Sake, but the traffic was just horrendous. It took me an hour to travel about 6 miles to get me out of Greater London, basically. So yeah, it was ridiculous. And coming back, I whizzed through. There was hardly any traffic whatsoever coming back at about 6 o'clock at night.
I think there was traffic issues for a lot of London that day.
Absolutely, because there had been snow.
We had people that live locally at work who drive into work, and it took them twice the amount of time to get in that day.
I think there was one you said who's about maybe two miles away from here, and it took that person an hour
I think,
to get in.
Yeah.
I mean, that, you know, it's quicker walking. It would have been quicker walking. But yes, people, they don't really understand they have legs anymore.
Yeah, so. But it was horrendous weather, so, you know, you know, either way you look at it, you're going to suffer.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So, and people, I mean, I don't blame people choosing to be in their cars, frankly.
Well, no, because it is warm. Yeah.
Well,
generally.
It's warm, it's more pleasant, you haven't got to stand in the rain waiting for buses and, you know,
I mean, Vanessa and I, we did discuss again the possibility of me going down there by train and coming back by train. But the thing is, you know, it normally takes me about 3.25 hours there and back. That's what it is taking at the moment. It used to be just over 2 hours there and back. But because of various roadworks and things, particularly at Wisley Junction, it's much longer. However, if I wanted to take the train, the closest I can get there is Guildford, and I'd need to get the bus from Guildford to For Her Sake and then walk 10 minutes or be picked up by Vanessa or somebody else at Guildford and then be driven. And that would still take around 2.5 hours to get me there, 2 to 2.5 hours, and the same time to get back. So I'd end up being sort of 4 hours or even 5 hours just travelling each day. You know, each day I went down there. So even though I love travelling by train, it's so much more convenient, even though it takes so long in the car. I can listen to the radio, you know, I can think about things, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, transport in London, when it works, it's great.
Yeah, like when we went to
really great.
Greenwich a few weeks ago, you know, that was literally nipping across and down and everything worked fine.
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Magpie. Oh, I can see a lone magpie.
So, lovely.
What's lovely?
everything. So, Paul, you wanted to mention Stir Up Sunday. Now, that's today. You're watching today.
Absolutely.
On the 24th of November. And it's Stir Up Sunday, which is about your mixtures for your cake and your pudding and whatever else,
it's particularly your pudding. It's particularly for your Christmas pudding, but you do your Christmas cake as well very often on the same day, and then feed it with, or both of them feed with
What about
brandy.
your mince pies?
Mince pies.
Your mince meat.
Yeah, I mean, mince pies, of course, mince pies have been in the shops for about 2 months now. And most of the ones that came into the shops 2 months ago are out of date before Christmas because they've got a relatively short shelf life. Because especially if it's like buttery pastry, you know, there's butter in the pastry, it has a shorter shelf life. But yeah, I used to love making mince pies, and Mum used to make her own mince meat as well.
Now, some people get confused about mincemeat.
Yes.
Because
it has changed over the centuries.
Yeah, I mean, the history of it would have been sort of, I don't know, 1500s, 1600s, something like that, where it would have been made with a mixture, I think, of meats.
Mutton,
and fruit.
Beef, fat, fruits, herbs and spices.
As a pie filling.
Yeah.
Whereas the mincemeat that we have today is a mixture of fruits, dried fruits.
Yeah.
With suet.
Yeah.
Very often now I think they use vegetable suet.
Yeah, vegetarian suet, yeah.
And very often spices and some kind of alcohol maybe.
Yeah, I mean when you make it yourself you definitely put alcohol in it. Whether the store-bought jars that you get have alcohol in, I'm not sure. They mostly don't. But they'll have sort of like grape juice or apple juice in it to give it that moisture.
I think my granny used to buy it.
Yeah.
In a jar, a big jar. Robertson's, was it?
Yeah, Robertson's used to make. Yeah, they used to get the big. They were like £2 jars, weren't they?
Really big
that
jar.
you would get.
Yeah.
And yeah, Mum used to make her own, and then I think latterly she bought it ready-made. But yeah, I remember sort of making all of the
and are
sort
you
of
going to make
things.
Christmas puddings?
I think I will. I'm not going to be doing them on Stir Up Sunday because I'm not prepared. But I think I will, and I might do some. I might do some mince pies.
We did that recipe a few years ago.
Yeah, which worked really well.
Which worked beautifully, and we used large teacups.
We did, which we steamed. So you had the individual Christmas pudding, which was rather nice.
Yeah. So if you want to have a look, go here and check it out. It's a really good recipe, very easy to do. I think the only fiddly thing is making those little tops.
The caps, yeah, the greaseproof paper caps.
Yeah, that's the only fiddly thing.
Mum used to make, she used to do a big mince meat pie, and it had what Dad would call, it would be a plate, it would be on a plate, and your mum used to make plate things, didn't she?
Yeah.
And it would be on a plate, and ours was always, it was a big Pyrex plate, which I think we've got a couple of. And Dad would always say that there was a causeway around the outside, because the outside would have a good sort of like 1.5 to 2 inches would be pastry. But of course that was perfect because you could use that to basically hold it. You know, it was absolutely lovely and delicious cold.
My mum
Really
used to do a cheese
cold.
and onion pie on a plate.
Oh, cheese and oh.
She used to make a very, very thick white sauce. And she would add sautéed onions to it and then shed loads of cheese. And she would do it on a plate. And it was delicious, especially cold.
Did it have a bottom and a top?
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's pastry
yeah.
underneath
Yeah,
and
yeah,
pastry
yeah.
over the top,
Yeah.
Delicious.
And baked on a plate. But she would also do a plate of pastry. What did we used to call them? We had a word for them, didn't we? A plate of pastry.
Yeah, we did.
What was it?
I can't remember.
No, I can't
No.
either. I bet Vivi will remember.
Yeah,
But she very often would do a plate of pastry
And a separate stew.
and a separate stew. So you'd have a piece of pastry with your stew
Yeah, yeah. And you
to
just
soak
sort of
up the
cut it
gravy.
Good idea,
it's
that.
making
I
me-
think we've done that once or twice, haven't we, for something?
Pot pastry on a plate.
Pop.
No.
P-O-T-P. Pastry on a plate.
Pot-
Poap.
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 It
Pastry
was a
on a
poap.
plate.
Yeah.
Poap. Yeah.
That's it. We
Yeah.
got there eventually.
Yeah, yeah.
The brain.
That's the age. We were both talking this week about, when you think, oh, I must do that.
Or I must look that up.
And then as soon as you think that, you think you need to do something else. And then you forget what you first thought that you need to do and how long it takes to get that memory of what you need to do
It's
back.
happened a couple of times this morning to me. I thought I must look that up and Google that
Check
and find
that,
out a little
yeah.
bit more about it. And then I look at something else and think, what was that thing that I was going to look up? And it's gone. You can see it fading into the background like a little white dot in your head.
Yeah, absolutely. And you try
Trying
and
to grab it
mentally
back.
grab it back, and it's sort of
Won't come.
out of reach. It's hiding behind a
Brain
little
cell.
brain cell, or a little bit of.
It's hiding behind a dead neuron.
Most probably.
Yeah.
Oh, dearie me.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So, is that all you wanted to talk about, Stir Up Sunday? You just wanted to mention
Yeah,
it?
I just wanted to mention it because it's a lovely British tradition. It is, and I don't know if there's other traditions around the world like that, where, as I say, where the family gets together and does something and makes a wish. I don't
Well,
know.
let's take this opportunity to say Happy Christmas. I mean, people are literally starting Christmas in November now.
Oh yeah,
aren't they?
yeah.
I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
about you, but I remember as a child being very, very excited about Christmas and being very excited
It was a
about
special day.
when the run up.
Yeah.
I mean, when it reached December, we were mithering to get the tree up, and actually, it should really only be up for the 12 days of Christmas.
Well,
shouldn't it?
yes. I mean, traditionally it was, and then that was extended, and it was sort of, you'd get it out at the beginning of December, and now there are various ones already up, I've seen on our streets.
Really?
Yeah, there's one when we were coming down Humes Avenue the other day. There was one there, and I mean, there are some people who have them up all year, which is odd. But if they enjoy it, that's absolutely fine. But traditionally, modern tradition is up at the beginning of December. But yeah, certainly Lidl has got Christmas trees this week. I know various other places have got live Christmas trees this week. So it sort of all has begun. Yeah.
Bah humbug.
And Isabel from The Natural Choice, I know she's doing a dinner this evening for I think it's the vegan option that she's got is a squash and cranberry and mushroom sort of crown that she's doing, because I saw that on her Facebook. So yes, it's her first Christmas dinner for clients that she's doing. Yeah.
Anywho, let's move the show
Yeah,
along
yeah.
because we don't want it to be a long one.
No, we've got a busy weekend.
Although my vlog is very long.
Ooh,
Yeah.
it's nothing like a lengthy vlog.
No, exactly.
Yes.
So, yeah, just to mention, we have my niece staying with us this weekend. She's coming tonight. She's got a couple of events. That's Sophie Stock Art. I'll put a little link in to Sophie's, not there, no, down there, Richard. I'll put a little link in for you. You can have a look and follow her. So, it's time for Word of the Week. So, let me get the book. Oh, I wonder what intellectual delight this week's word will be. This is a word for every day of the week by Stephen Poole, gifted to me by Vivi of What Vivi Did Next.
And Richard is so pleased to have had that as a gift, aren't
No,
you?
I actually am,
He
because
actually is.
it gives everybody this thrill each week. Right, 24th of November. Oh, okay.
Relatively short.
It's a relatively short word. And, well, no, the text
Description.
The description isn't particularly short.
Right.
Videnda, or Videnda. Videnda.
Is it a viewing platform?
I don't know. What modern travel guides call the sights of a destination, rather stupidly, since literally everything the visitor lays eyes on will be a sight, regardless of its cultural interest or antiquity, used to be called, more accurately, the videnda. This being a Latin gerund like agenda or see 4th of December for Tacenda. That's obviously a word later in the book. It means the things that ought to be seen. So one 18th century correspondent enthused of a travel guide that it contained the vivenda in all parts of Great Britain as houses, antiquities, views, etc. While another, more disappointed traveller complained of being humbugged by printed accounts of visionary videnda. The term is first recorded, though, in the life and opinions of Tristram Shandy, 1759 to 1767, the success of which presumably popularised it. Here, the hero explains his intention to see the tomb of the lovers. In my list, therefore, of videnda at Lyons, this, though last, was not, you see, least. Oh, that was a complicated sentence.
Don't frown, baby.
Tristram's author, the incomparable Lawrence Sterne, was born on this day in 1713. So there we are.
So it's sort of things that you need to see at places that you go to.
Ought to see.
Yeah. That's fair enough. That's like us going to Greenwich and seeing the Cutty Sark and Queen's House and things like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And indeed, that leads us on to the vivenda of television this week. So,
That sounded a bit like a horse.
So, we got a, what's the word? Subscription to Paramount Plus. Was it free?
Free for 7 days, and then we got a month. And we're going through a few programs that we watched several series over the years, but then they changed platform and we haven't seen the final series or, in fact, the new series.
So we chose to watch the recent series of Discovery, Star Trek Discovery.
I think that's the final series.
Is it?
I think so.
Who knows? And also the other one is on there as well, Strange New Worlds, which I would also like to watch.
Yeah.
Discovery, well,
I mean, I'm enjoying it, but I find it very. They're all soul searching. There's an awful lot of chat about, people's well-being, and they're in the middle of a battle and suddenly they're talking, very passionately about somebody's mental health or something.
Or, they'll say, we've only got an hour to do this. We've got an hour to save the universe.
Or a minute, wasn't it, at one point?
And we're just going to sit here and talk about it.
Yes.
I'd be like, come on, let's go now.
Yeah.
It's
all very laid back.
It is quite laid back, isn't it?
And I get that. The thing is with astronauts and fighter pilots and all of these people, they need to be able to really contain their emotions and keep control of themselves. But I find it laid back whilst being enjoyable.
But I think also there isn't in... with Discovery, with the ship itself, there's no real sense of journey.
No, because
anymore,
it
uses the spore drive to...
And the mycelium network throughout the universe.
To just jump to its destination. So I used to like it when spaceships had a bit of a journey. They're going through space and, you know, they've got 12 hours of journeying to go before they get there and and let's have a chat now because we've got plenty of time.
Sometimes there's a chase, isn't there, as well, because they have to get there before someone else gets there and make sure that those other people who are the baddies don't do bad to the planet that they're about to go to. Now they just jump there.
But there was a sense of the galaxy being very big. Now they can just go anywhere.
Yeah,
at the flick
with
of a
this
switch.
one ship.
And also, they've got personal transporters on board.
Yeah.
Well, everywhere.
Yeah.
So they can go, oh, I'm going to the bridge. You know, what about all the lifts and the corridors?
Yeah.
I mean, they do a little bit of walking, but one thinks, well,
they do a lot of walking and talking.
But the thing is, where are the gyms? Because with all this personal transporting, one wonders, you know. Okay, so we also started the new series, the reboot of Frasier.
Yeah.
Which we've really got into. Now, just a little warning. The first episode, the first
15 minutes?
15 minutes is a little bit clunky.
Yeah.
But you have to bear in mind that Frasier, the original series, had a massive supporting cast. So you had people like Roz, Bulldog, Niles, BB, Lilith, etc., Daphne. You know, you had a supporting cast. Mr. Crane, you know, Dad.
Yeah.
That, of course, carries the show through because you've got all this, you know, intricate script work and these plots that sort of, you know, take you on these little journeys. So they had to establish
new
characters. And actually, we're really enjoying it.
Yeah,
it's got going, hasn't it?
It has. By the second series, I was laughing out loud at some of the lines.
The second series?
A second episode, rather.
Yeah.
I was laughing out loud at some of the lines. Yeah.
So, recommended.
Because Frasier's the only character that's come across.
Yeah.
That we've seen so far.
So far.
Yeah.
I know that others join.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm looking forward to BB.
Oh, is BB coming back?
She does come back.
Oh, I love BB. Yeah.
My most favourite scene of BB's was when she's given up smoking and she describes in detail taking a hit on a cigarette. And every nicotine addict can relate to that. I think if you Google it,
I think any addict.
If you do YouTube, Frasier BB cigarette, you'll find that scene, and absolute genius, brilliant. Such an unhinged character.
Yeah.
But in such a controlled way, controlled unhingedness, which I loved about her. We continue with a series called Between the Covers with Sarah Cox, is it? On BBC Two, which is all about books.
Yeah, so it's a book review programme basically with 4 celebrity guests each week. And yeah, it's an enjoyable half an hour. I'm not sure there's too many of the books that they get through that I think, oh, I must read that.
No. And also, I like Sarah Cox, but I like it when she's just straight. I find the script contains too many sort of, do a joke at this point, or, you know, make this bit funny. And I think she tries a bit too hard to be a comedian. And I don't think she is a natural comedian.
Comic. rather than a comedian, I think.
Well, comic, whatever.
Yeah.
Same thing in my book.
Well, not in my book, no.
But it is quite good and does deal with some interesting books.
Yeah.
And has interesting guests. Nena Cherry was on it.
Yes.
I love Nena Cherry.
Yeah.
I think she's fantastic. We also started watching Walking With on BBC Four. Now, this is the series that started a couple of years ago.
No, this is the series that originally started, and then I think it changed to Spring Walks and Winter Walks.
Yeah, so this involves a celebrity taking a walk with a handheld 360-degree camera, which is recording everything all of the time. So in the edit, they can basically make the view pan around to any part of the 360-degree view.
Yeah, down as well and up.
Really interesting technique.
And there's a drone camera as well that follows the person as they walk.
Yeah.
So you get long views of them standing at a gate or on a river or something like that.
And it's quite interesting because you get a sense of the meditative nature of taking a solo walk, which, I think for some is quite brave.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not sure how I'd feel about walking an area that I'd never walked before on my own for a whole day. Because very often it is sort of from early till dusk, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this week's was Shapi Korsandi, is her name? Korsandi?
Yeah, something like that.
She lives in Ealing, doesn't she?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was good.
It was good.
It's a good show.
From a few years ago, that was BBC Four.
Yeah. We continue with D.I. Ray,
which is ITV.
which is
We're watching that in
good.
sort of spits and spots, an episode maybe a week at the moment.
And
because we have them all recorded, that's why.
We've reached the semi-final of RuPaul's Drag Race season 6, so we won't give any spoilers away, but it's...
I was sad to see the last queen go, the one that went out this week, because I think she's my favourite. The one that I hope is going to win, I'd be really, really pleased. And I think that person was going to win from early on, but my favourite queen has gone out, which is a shame.
Yeah. And we also watched the next instalment of Scotland's Poshest Train on Channel 4.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not my favourite programme. It's interesting to see how this small percentage of people that can afford that kind of thing are enjoying that kind of lavish luxury.
Yeah.
And, they do a bloody good job on that train of providing
absolutely.
that service. But it is a bit, I don't know, it's a bit weird watching that happen, watching it play out. I don't know, I just think there's so many people who, including us, who could only dream of that kind of experience. And I think it's a shame that...
I mean, travel has got very plebeian, really. It's giving you the very lowest...
Well, we talked about that last week, didn't we?
Yeah, very lowest,
It's not available
experience.
to the plebeian person, basically, that kind of travel. And
well, it's only available to people with ultra-high net worth, basically.
Yes, you mean ordinary travel is very plebeian.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's who we are, the plebeian people, the ordinary folk. And the rich folk, knock yourselves out. Enjoy it.
It always... I've only been on the underground, or subway as you call it in New York, once, and I was really... over here, the underground, most of the underground has got sort of cushioned seats which are covered in a fabric and are relatively...
Ideal for trapping dirt.
Aren't that great for cleaning, but actually that's how they are. Where when I went on the subway, it was all sort of plastic and very easily washed down, which of course really is sort of pretty basic level, but I suppose in terms of hygiene is much better for cleaning. So, Yeah, sorry, I went off on one.
I just think travel now, general travel, is becoming so expensive. If you just want to be spontaneous and go for the day, you know, if you're going to go quite far, you know, it's going to cost you. One can't just decide to do something on the spur of the moment now.
No. I remember a thing came up on my Facebook of something like 10 years ago when I had to go to Edinburgh for a meeting. And I was talking then that the price of the train to go for this meeting was £188. And that was 10 years ago.
Oh.
So now
Double
it would
or
be
treble
like,
it.
yeah, at least. Yeah.
So there we
Anyway.
are. That's the TV for the week. And yeah, that's it.
We've got something to look forward to between 7 and 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. That's today when you're watching this.
Free energy.
Free
for
electricity.
2 hours. Free electricity for 2 hours. So we're going to get everything. We're going to put everything on.
I'm going to be doing some cooking. I'm going to have the oven on. I'm going to be cooking some homemade baked falafel. I might do a soda bread as well.
Maybe I should do some oat biscuits.
You could do some oat biscuits.
I could prepare the dough today.
Tonight, yeah. You could do it today. Yeah, so yeah, it's because tomorrow they're expecting the wind from wind turbines, or the electricity generated from wind turbines, to be high.
Which provider is this?
Octopus. So we'll pay for what we normally use between 7 and 9 a.m, which is like a kettle boiling maybe and a bit of lighting and things like that. But anything over that is basically free. So yeah, there'll be quite a lot of baking and
get
heating.
money back on the bill then?
Yeah, it works it out. So it works it out over the next week
they
or
don't
so.
get it wrong.
No, they don't. I mean, last year, in summer, I think we saved about 8 or 10 quid, which doesn't sound very much, but it's 8 or 10 quid, you know. So
hurrah!
Yeah.
It's going to be a tropical paradise.
Are you
tomorrow.
going to be doing washing on a Sunday?
Well, I don't think I've got much washing to do, but I think put all the heaters on, the electrical heaters.
Yeah.
We've got 3. Dot them around the house. Put the dehumidifier on full blast. The heaters on full blast.
Put the oven on. Put the microwave. Put lots
Just
of tea in the microwave.
everything on and
put the kettle on.
we don't want to blow any fuses.
No, I was just thinking that.
We need to be careful.
Oh, you could do all the hoovering as well. That would be fun, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, but I use a rechargeable Hoover.
Well, it still needs charging. You can charge it
I'll
there.
charge
Or
it.
charge our mobile phones
Charge
and
the
things.
devices.
Yeah. Gosh, it's going to be an exciting...
Gonna need to write a list.
Absolutely. An exciting
Hurrah.
7 to 9 a.m.
We could invite people over to bask in the warm.
We could.
Make a party out of it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Does our neighbour know?
I
Make
shall,
sure she knows.
I shall let her know, yeah, because she's on Octopus as well.
So that's it for today's show. Thank you for tuning in. We do hope you've enjoyed it. Remember to subscribe and hit the bell for notification.
And if you're not getting notifications, there was someone who said that they weren't. Check that the bell is on, and if the bell is on, take it off, and then put the bell back on.
Okay.
So, yeah.
You heard it here.
Yeah.
So bye then. Take care. Toodle pip. Au revoir.
And think of us being gloriously warm between 7 and 9 a.m. tomorrow, which is today when you're watching this. Yes.
Bye.
Bye.